Time now for my shocking stat of the week. This is a beauty. You know, one of the challenges in looking at government spending is that people actually can't believe that level of incompetence. They literally don't know anyone in their lives that's that wasteful. So they have trouble actually fathoming it in government. They kind of put it in their own context. Yeah, people make mistakes, whatever. No, we're talking huge, because if they thought for a moment, I think they'd go, of course. Look at the structure we have. There's absolutely no incentive in government to spend the money prudently. No one in government is rewarded by getting the best deal or making sure taxpayers get the best bang for the buck. No one in government is rewarded for that. Departments have a budget, but the incentive is to actually spend every cent of it for fear that anything they don't spend will be clawed back in the next year's budget. That's why you get these persistent stories of waste. You know, last week I asked if people cared about government waste, about taking your tax dollars and blowing it. Not a debate about where they should spend the money. I'm saying they are spending it, and way too often it's inefficient, ineffective, and wasteful. And people, I think, generally don't care. Maybe it's because they don't get a bill directly. I mean, they pay their taxes, sure. But sorry for the cliche, but they pay them like sheep. And any shortfall is passed along in the form of higher debts for our children to pay. In other words, it's not like we're getting a bill presented to us. Oh, we wasted this. Oh, you have to own up and send a bill for $538 or something. No. So if there's no direct payment, I think people don't really care. Which brings me to this week's shocking stat. The U.S. Department of Defense asked a federal advisory panel of corporate executives. That group was called the Defense Budget Board. They asked them to identify potential cost savings in the department's. Think about this. The Department of Defense budget is $580 billion US dollars. By the way, that's double the entire Canadian federal budget. But it backfired. This is the story. Because that Defense Business Board study revealed a clear path, their words, clear path to saving over $125 billion. Are you kidding? That's a level of waste that has to reflect egregious mismanagement, incompetence on the part of the people who lead the Department of Defense. But really, $125 billion? So here's the point. What did the leaders do? Well, according to interviews and confidential memos obtained by the Washington Post, they quickly moved to discredit the report, not change anything. They wanted to suppress the results because they feared Congress would use it as a way of slashing the defense budget. And that's the goal. Not efficient spending, is to keep that budget as high as possible. The plan to cut $125 billion over 5 years would not have required layoffs, by the way, of civil servants or reduction in military personnel. No, it just would have streamlined the bureaucracy through attrition, early retirements, curtailed high-priced contractors, and made better use of information technology. But still, they weren't going to hear of that. $125 billion, not enough incentive. And that's the problem. This story, I can show you examples in Canada, the same kind of thing. There is no incentive whatsoever to spend money effectively. Nobody spending that money, no bureaucrat is rewarded from getting the best deal or making sure taxpayers get the best bang. And sadly, I don't think any politician is either. Donald Trump's going to be more popular because he's just throwing the money out the door. No talk of more efficiency or better management and spending. We had a federal election in Canada just over a year ago. Absolutely no talk from any of the three leaders on making government more efficient, despite the numerous consistent reports of our Auditor General talking about relentless waste. That's the story. We're paying for it, and it will come back to roost.